morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Womens Racing Series. We are out on the Magnificent 8. This is race number 5 within the series number 3. We are going to be doing a points. Well, the women are going to be doing a points race today. I'm excited for Magnificent 8. They're going to be taking on some KOMs as well as plenty of sprint points. 29K, I believe it is, out on Watopia. A little bit of the old and a little bit of the quote-unquote new, no longer new, but the oldest school roads mixed in with some of the newer ones, as they will be out in the deserts on Tempest Fugit. But they're also doing the reverse KOM. The ladies are out on course, about to take on that first KOM. But Dave, thoughts on today's race?
Mag 8. This is a legendary course, no doubt about it. I would imagine, so I guess a field sprint is what we were anticipating in Tour de France Femme avec Zwift today, which was another great stage. I won't give you a spoiler alert, but by the time we come in today, everybody would know that Lotte Kopecky is the overall yellow jersey. So we'll see who's going to have an outstanding ride out here. So Nathan, this is a course that absolutely what you'd expect to see a group sprint, but we've got some riders that are going to really mix things up. And as a matter of fact, I would not be at all surprised if our winner comes across the line alone today out of this group. You know, with some of the racing, we've seen some huge fields this summer. I say summer. I'm always looking at it from the North American perspective. But at this time of year, the numbers have been huge. But I would imagine today that it really looks like our B field and our C field are at the kind of swelling up to really large pelotons. This A group, Nathan, it's more like a smaller, reduced group that we started with, but with some really talented riders. There's a few names in here that are at that world-class level. Let me just start with the Danish rider, Louise Gamst. Nathan, she's one of, on any given week of esports racing, she's a top 10 worldwide rider.
Yeah, and BL13, who she is riding for, showing up today on the women's side of things with some good representation. They did recently launch over this past few months. I think it was back in maybe toward the end of ZRL. The chatter started happening around it, and then actually had the launch of their women's team. So really cool that they're up to that, and they have been showing up specifically for this series in order to try and show some domination. BL13, Rosa, a new rider that I've actually not seen from that team, showing up alongside of BL Gamps, is going to be Rosa RS. She's out of Spain and looks like actually a mountain biker. Level 49 Zwifter, so great to see her jumping in. We'll see what kind of performance that she can pull off here. Showing up with what I would say maybe the veteran of the Zwift Racing and that team that kind of probably spearheads, I would think, Louise Gamps when it comes to that women's team being newly launched.
Yeah, Nathan, on that point, put a gold star next to her name as a mountain biker. Nathan will pay extra attention to you, Rosa. So just as a heads up, it doesn't hurt around here to race mountain bikes. Nathan just won a cow this weekend, and it was exciting to hear how things are going there. So it's always about what's going on.
It wasn't an actual real cow. Like I live in Wisconsin.
I'm sorry.
I live in Wisconsin, and some people, like I actually even asked the question, like someone said, well, you get a cow if you won the state championship. I was like, because in Wisconsin, it wouldn't be like, I mean, it's kind of a far shot, but like it's kind of a far shot you'd actually get a cow, but at the same time, it's not for some weird reason. So I was like, are we actually getting real cow, like a real cow? No. Anyway,
you just hope the cow is alive at that point,
well,
right? I mean, yeah, you never know. The butcher, right? You know, but at any rate, Nathan, the other rider on that team, Lara Meyer, is a French rider. Talking about BL13, just like we've seen with Next presented by Insured. These squads are the teams that haven't had a women's component are adding one. And in the spirit of Tour de France Femme avec Zwift, I just wanted to shout out how cool that is. It's nice to see. I have a feeling today where we're at in the season, almost like a preseason heading into. There's going to be a lot of information coming about the racing to look forward to, but now working on some skills, and I wouldn't be surprised if Louise Gamp works to try to set up one of her teammates for the win out here today.
That'd be pretty cool, actually, if she did do that, and she is that kind of rider. Let's jump right down into the A racing. They have gone out and around the volcano Fairly flat up front, but there have been a couple little punches off the front here and there. As well as, interesting enough, Rose Beast Mode with Maria Marb has been making moves a little bit here and there. BL13 haven't really stuck their nose in the wind. I think they're keeping it really smart. I didn't realize that they actually had 4 riders. I thought it was just the 2.
I thought it was 3.
Oh, Laura Myers. We also have Elise here. And then Rosa RS alongside of Luis Gamp. So definitely a strong field. Synergy have showed up. What's cool, we have a smaller field with the A's. We will also be covering the B category race as well, just so everybody knows. So we're and the C and the D category as we get into the later parts of this race. They started 1 minute across, 1 minute delay between each and every one of the categories. So the B rider started 1 minute later, then 1 minute later after that, the C riders, then 1 minute later after that, staggered start to the D riders. So there will be enough time for us to be able to grab some of the images as well from the other categories. But interesting enough, what does happen when we have a little bit smaller field like this, it can make it slightly more tactical, especially when you have well-represented teams. Like, essentially, we have Synergy versus BL13 today with a couple of other dice rolls mixed into what might happen out here, Dave.
Yeah, Nathan, I completely agree. This is a fun scenario to race out of, is a way that I'd like to look at it, because you've got a very classic scenario here. You've got 2 of the strong teams that come in with their objectives, and then you've got, as you say, the wild cards, the riders that can play off of that. Maria Marb is one of our favorites coming into this event, the German rider that we were highlighting. We mentioned Luis Gamps, Lara Meyer, Rosa. I'd also like to shout out Hexagon. That's Mylene Proust. Nathan, there's an Irish rider in this field, Kay Baines of the Synergy TVR team. Synergy also has Lisa Levin out here, Britt Poor on Synergy as well. So this
real
is
quick, Dave. I don't want to interrupt too much here, but just real quickly, I want to highlight what's happening on screen right now. It is definitely fastest through segment, just so everyone knows. Look what BL13 are doing right in front of our eyes.
They're loading it up.
Yep. Last one across, now kick. There it goes. And there's the line right there. It starts timing from that line they just crossed, that KOM, all the way to the top. Look at Gamps go straight from back to front.
Yep. And so, I guess, thank you, Nathan. What we're really looking at is, it could be interesting I think that's going to be a fastest through segment, commonly known as FTS. This is how it's a points race with FTS as the field of battle out here. And so by starting at the back of this group, you assure yourself if you can go from starting at the very back of the fastest group and finishing at the front of that group. And that's going to be BL13's Gamps moving off the front as it kicks up. You can see her wattage numbers going sky high right now. She'll be touching on 8 watts per kilo, as that's Luis Gamps in the yellow and red on the front. How about this ride from Kay Baines, Nathan? She's hanging right in there. Gamps, the Danish rider here that we're looking at with the visor. Right behind her, it's going to be Marb. That's the Rose Beast Mode rider, the German rider sitting second wheel. A little bit of a gap opening up right now here, Nathan.
Marb now coming across to Gamps. Now, there is advantage to getting away a little bit later in the race, though, because it is all about first across the line when it comes to the actual finish line. But only on the finish line out here today does first across the line matter for the points the most. There is no first across the line across the rest of the segments. It is fastest through segments. So essentially, you have a situation where you're looking to get the pack to help you through these segments as best as you can possibly manipulate that, and then get the fastest time through each one of the segments they will be taking on. And then after that, Dave, it's kind of like the gloves come off. I don't need you any longer if I can get to the finish line first. It's an interesting situation that it can play out to being at the end of the race.
Just like where they're on the course right now, Nathan, they go up to a higher plateau, and then there's sort of another battle through this lumpy sector. You're absolutely right. You need to be in this group. And then for everybody in that group, it sort of does become a bit of a sprint to pick up that fastest through segment. At the end of the day, you're just making as many watts as you can in a brutal throwdown out here. It's going to be under 30K out here really closer to right in between 28 and 29 total kilometers of racing, but they're into the thick of it now. Nathan, this is probably the toughest 3K of the course that they're right in the middle of here. Luis Gamst is setting pace. That BL13 jersey really well represented up in this group today, Nathan, as we take a look at a peloton that's sticking together. I'm keeping my eyes on Melaine Proust there.
Real quickly, I'm going to jump on over to our B category. A little bit of a replay of the start of their climb, actually. They were just getting involved here, and NZ Bro have showed up in force, actually, over in the B category. Mega attacks taking place, it looks like, amongst this crew. So great to see. And I think I saw Pamela Levine from Sisu in there hanging on tough with the NZ Bro crew. They climbed pretty strongly through here. A lot of separation taking place.
Joanne Ernst, Nathan, in this race. That's a familiar name. Great to see her, the Crush Pod rider. This is Farjado of the Galaxy team that we're looking at, the American rider, sitting on 3 watts per kilo. Look at this, though. We got a real strong group. As you said, NZ Bro in full effect. Is this a new kit for NZ Bro that we're looking at here? It is new to me.
Yeah, I'm wondering, NZ Bro, are they
Blue.
wearing, are they wearing the donuts today? They're wearing donuts
Is that
today.
what?
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like they're wearing, at least from what I'm seeing, that's what it looks like to me. Is the
There you
donut
go.
kit.
Good job. Nice producing, Nathan. So this is going to be, again, the B race. Nathan mentioned at the top of the broadcast, but I'll reiterate for you that this group started 1 minute behind in a unique B group. So they did not mix the fields together like an American gravel race. I was Joanne Ernst again, but we're going back to pick up the A's because it looks like you found BL13, Nathan, splitting this group.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what just happened, actually, coming up and over the top here. But this situation was developed by the attack over the top for the fastest through segment. As you saw at the bottom of this climb, they preloaded, as you said. I like the way you put that. They kind of preloaded the climb with a little extra time that they could gain back by catching the group and then allowing the group to carry them up through. So that means that section that they're traveling through, they actually can have a faster time if they go through with the group or ahead of the group even. So that's exactly what happened here, is that they actually attacked off the front to gain as much time as they possibly could on the rest of the group. We can take a quick look back at what just took place, actually, for that sprint here, as it was a sprint to the line between these A category riders.
You can effectively, as they use the term, handicapping in racing, right, Nathan? If you're willing to start 2 seconds off the back of that group, you know what I mean? It's like, how much leash are you willing to give that group to ensure that all you really have to do, obviously, is start at the back of the fastest group. Giving more than 1 second is a huge danger for no real reason as we look at this moment in the race where things really started to explode. I think Rose Beast Mode might have had a plan in the
BL13 off the front there, big time.
Yeah.
Beast Mode here trying to close it down, I think, because there was a little bit of like, this is a dangerous moment, as Maria Marb found herself off the back of a BL13 train going off the front, actually. But it really does all come back together. I mean, they went full gas. Three of the riders, full gas over the top, but was caught as they are heading on over to Tempest Fugit.
Gives you a feel for how long we've been doing this now, Nathan. It's about 2.5 years ago that the infamous BL13, the breakthrough moment that team had on the men's side, where they organized a jailbreak similar to what the ladies were doing right there. Different scenarios, obviously. Every race is going to be a different chess match, that's for sure. But it's fun to watch the BL13 ladies showing the exact same spirit. Wouldn't you say, Nathan, that team is known for? That's their trademark. Every team has its own flavor, right? And they're kind of a sriracha.
It's a good point. Really good point, actually, about BL13, even across on the lady sides of things, being this very tactical and like to make what I would say pointed moves that are, have exactness to them and usually come with a boom, with a bang when they show up. They definitely make a whole lot of fireworks whenever they take off. Synchronized is a good way to put it too.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. It's not that when BL13 puts 3 riders up in a front group like that, it didn't just happen. It's not like That's just how the dice rolled. It was a plan, and most often than not in cycling, plans don't work, but it's coming back and responding to what's your next move going to be. And in a lot of cases, it's that, the drip effect where you just try to wear them down one drop at a time. That's how they built the Grand Canyon. Here we go, Laura Meyer, 12.5K into this 20, let's call it 29K out here. Uh, Starting to look more and more likely, Nathan, on a course like this, that it's harder to get away when you realize the strength of the group. We're going to take a look at the C's, though, now, and I believe you found the front group here.
Yeah, I think we're in with Sarah Kirby. We just jumped across over to them as they just came up and over the top. And I just wanted to jump over here real quickly to give an idea of how things are playing out in and amongst the C category. There is a front group at this point. It looks like of about, I'm going to say, let's see if we can get an exact count. I think there's 11 riders that have gone off the front. This is the chase here from Townsend, Bolton, McLean, also there. But the front group, a lot of representation from some teams as well within the C category. One thing I want to definitely say here within the C category is that the teams in this C category, they show up in force together. There is a strong community, right? Like, and you can kind of see, I mean, same with the A category, but we have a smaller representation of that right now with the number of ladies within that A category. There's about, I think, 11 riders or so, and two really well represented teams, and then a couple of wild cards, as you had said. Well, here, Dave, we've got, I think it was the largest number of signups for sure that have shown up to the line today. I think it's 34 riders, for almost 40 riders, and almost every single one of these riders here is a part of a team that's shown up in force as well. So you're looking at like 4, 5, 6 teams that are all here working together in Discord channels. They're taking this pretty seriously to take each other down in this C category.
Very well put, Nathan. I mean, look, you've got Galaxy here. Herd is out here. Zed Sun, Swedish Swifters, Synergy, Aeonian, the team captain for Aeonian, Carla Williams, the Canadian, not Canadian, I'm sorry. What is that flag? I don't know how I came up with Canada. Where is Carla from here? Because she is an icon in racing. And part of the reason why we see so many women in the C field is because Peru. Did you know that?
Yeah. I knew.
Okay.
I knew that. I had said that and known it, but it wasn't. It's not like I could just like throw it out.
I feel like I needed a refresher.
I could see how you could mix that up with the small flags there on the screen for sure with Canada a little bit. So a little bit.
That's a poor carpenter blames his tools. There's no doubt that's the Peruvian flag, and I blew it. It is red and white in my defense, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm not gonna cut myself any slack on that. I love Peru, so there you go. Carla Williams, though, to get back to the point, Nathan, she and Jamie Lee Wright put together Aeonian, which built a template, I think, for a lot of teams to look at. As we said, every team, two riders, more than two, chasing back in.
That whole group jumped back on, and that was mainly the work, I think, of the rider who just went straight to the front. I saw a moment ago. Let's see if I can find exactly who that was. This group with, I believe Townsend is the one who did a lot of the work there to bring this back, actually. That's Townsend here from ATP Hive. So ATP now representing here and really getting this group energized to get back on terms.
That's a very realistic race scenario, isn't it, Nathan? I mean, the chase back after a very rugged sector where the women really got after it, the group split. Well, it comes back together. This is something that you'd see in real life racing all the time. This is the front of the race for the C women out here as they get close to the midpoint. If you were on Zwift Power and looking at the profile, you'd see that they've done a majority of the climbing. It's not a huge climbing day, less than 500 feet, around 150 meters throughout the duration of the under 30K of racing out here on this very familiar topography that any Zwifter would know and love. A lot of time on these roads.
Get a little bit of the information for the fastest through segments. And a little bit earlier, it was BL13 that took down most of the points actually over that Watopia KOM reverse. We'll only have data for the A's actually on that. Sadly enough,
So
apologies on that, but it is going to be Laura Meyer, Luis Gamps, and Malene Proust taking the top three over the top of the fastest through segment. A flying 4:03 for the Watopia KOM reverse. That is a crazy time. I do my VO2 efforts right around that 4-minute marker actually on the reverse KOM of Watopia. These women are absolutely flying. That is a full gas 5.5, 6 watt per kilogram effort from a men's side of things. So they're going. They're really going.
in our women's series here, it's an ongoing group of racing. These women will know each other well. The format here, it's not a scratch race today. If you're just joining it, it's a little more complex than that in that we have FTS. If you've seen ZRL racing through the last few years, you'd be familiar with fastest through segments. There's really the three different ways to score points. First across the line, which is your standard points-based sprint. The fastest through segment, which was based on a sector. So imagine a start line and a finish line in the course. So it's a race within the race where the fastest times then go into a table where the points are distributed out of that. And then obviously the finish line is the third opportunity out there. So sort of like an American criterium might have preems, there's opportunities to win something along the way before
Next
the big
one coming up
overall.
here as we head right into. Sorry, Dave. Just next one's coming up real quickly here with the Tempest Fugit sprint forward as the riders are setting up. Malby here from Synergy straight to the front.
You don't see the same level of, I guess, just dogged determination to win these with the plan of coming from the back to the front.
Oh, there's two at the
Or
back
do
here.
we?
Yeah, there was one there. Rave, I think, really. I mean, this is pretty
Well, the
risky,
rider
actually,
in
the way that they
purple is
went about
trying
it
to.
here. Way back. McLean as well.
So
Bolton.
the rider in purple here, who's just going through the group, is the rider that did it, actually. So the start was the flashing line there. And see this rider? She's still charging. She's going to do it if she can hold on. She's now moving up, but one rider behind her may be coming over the top of that, and that might be it right there. The Synergy rider coming through, and I'm going to say that it is Auger, who's going to be your fastest through segment with Hunt from Galaxy second quickest. That's just by eye, Nathan. I think that's the case.
We'll take a look. We'll take a look at a replay of that in just a second here to get an idea of exactly how that ended
So
up
there
playing
were,
out.
I thought they'd already started but realizing that there were probably about 5 riders that were using the sag technique where you go to the back and race through the field looking to get that fastest time. Well executed there. Credit where it's due. They did it perfectly.
100%. Well, and in the so that was with the B category that excuse me, the C category that we just watched come on through there. The B category also had a sprint. We'll take a look at that in just a second here. Solid result from them. We'll get that in here, but I really want to highlight how this ended up playing out just a moment ago with these Bs. I mean, they definitely had about 4 riders, I think.
See, the way it's different than it, yeah, and the way it in so many ways it is like a sprint, but the way it's different is you want reverse positioning. In a sprint, you would never want to start at the back of the group, but in a fastest through segment, you do because that's where the most delta is available to you.
Yeah, the B
So
category, you see this, Dave, they didn't really at all. Like, they sprinting from the front here in the B category. Did you see that just now? Oliver here and the others? Now, this is the replay from before. So, a big difference that we're going to be able to see here between what the C category and what the B category accomplished here in this sprint section.
If you want to talk about sophistication, the C category is more sophisticated in their approach to winning it then.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, Heisbauer here from Team NL is just going to jump off the front rather than a ramp up. Now, that may have something to do with the number.
But if she started at the front of the group, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then right. So it's interesting when you look at it. You have to really understand how the FTS works to maximize your chances of winning it. Like this rider of the Synergy team in the blue and white coming through, most likely she did that starting at the back. We're kind of flashing back through some replay here.
Yeah, real quickly, let's see if we can get a look
That's
at.
the technique.
So you see these three off the back here. 1, 2, 3 riders. Purple. There's one in red and white, and then somebody I think
The
from the
rider who
Indian.
wins is the rider who's all the way at the very, very back, ultimately. So we start the clock now. You can
Yeah, and
see
I'm
that the
wondering.
rider in purple, I thought, was going to do it. The Hunt from Galaxy, you see, she now starts to make her move, but it's the rider in blue and white back here, and that
It's
is going to
way
be.
back, and she comes through the entire pack, actually,
So I
all the way
still thought
through.
Hunt was the rider who was going to do it. You see Hunt making another surge, but right now, there she is.
Oh,
She
look
shows
at
up
her
on your
come
screen,
through. And
and
you know, I think the reality of her kick as well as using the pack, it's just too strong.
Ogier. Yeah. Ogier's the
Too
rider that did that. So she started at the back, came through on the front, makes you undeniably the fastest through that segment.
mm-hmm. Pretty amazing. Well done, well done. The Seas are absolutely flying out here today. They're almost on par as far as the positioning on course. I think they're only about 500
Now,
meters or so.
that was the C's
Yeah,
that
it
we were
was.
looking at. So I
Yeah, it
want to
was
make
the
that
Seas.
point. You don't that would have you would have thought that was the A's, to tell you the truth. How with the execution level, that was 100% pro style right there. So when we were saying the B's, when you start in the group and you just kind of turn it into a sprint, that's not really super sophisticated, to tell you the truth. What you saw there was someone using maximum tactical strategy and going for it. So credit where it's due to Ogier
Yeah,
and
pretty
Hunt.
amazing. Pretty amazing actually to see the way that this C category is showing up and really kind of taking everybody to school a little bit here. I
Great
love the
numbers, great racing,
tactics.
right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
yeah,
Really great.
get
So
it on, ladies. Awesome job. I'm going to give C's the category of the day.
for sure. So, jumping across here in the A category, I'm gonna get updates. We don't have any cameras of how it played out amongst them for the sprints, but in the A category, it is still all together. Nobody has broken wires off the front or anything, which I thought there may be some attempts because the
Well,
reality of how we have the teams out here for the next segments, they do Fuego Flats, and then after Fuego Flats, essentially it's just to take you back over to the sprint for the finish. Actually, we can take a quick look at the actual route here, and the ladies that we were just watching, they're just about to hit this section right here. So they're about to go up a little bit of a bump, head on over to Titans Grove, take the underwater tunnel, and then it's going to be a sprint for the finish line over by the Watopia Piers there where the blue just finished up there. So from here on out, there is pretty much a first across the line battle that can play out. So you can start playing some games here because it doesn't matter as much about using the pack or being fastest through segment.
yeah, and that's where this racing is definitely multi-layered and complex when you talk about FTS, FAL, and the finish. I think we do kind of now, as we pass 20K with our A's and our B's out here, we do move into a mode, Nathan, where it just turns into a bike race at the end of the day in my mind. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like everything else, FTSs and all of that is great, but these racers do a finish line is what they've been born and bred to race for. And I mean, you see that uh, oftentimes, like the NCL race in Miami, where it didn't matter who won the race, but it was going to be points that were distributed, but still the rider puts her hands in the air because you
Mm-hmm.
won the sprint at the
Mm-hmm.
end. It
Mm-hmm.
feels exactly what winning a bike race should feel like. And as I said, that's what we're born and bred to do as bike
Which I do
racers.
like that it is first across the line still at the end of the race, that there is still a
Yeah, that
scratch race
matters.
within the
That
points
matters.
race. That really
Yeah.
does matter that is a part of it because you can set up for that then too because there is some different tactics that play out to different abilities within the pack. It doesn't it equalizes things a little bit amongst the riders too to be able to play some games because if it is a situation where it is just fastest through segment throughout the entire thing, you're just waiting for the pack. I mean, your only option if it's a smaller crew like this is to just break everybody as best as you possibly can to be alone, and then you've just wasted a ton of energy anyway. So
And
like,
And certainly, I could see, Nathan, where that would be uh, racing where you'd get some great exercise and exert a huge effort, but it's not going to be really much fun for people to watch you do that. It's not super broadcastable. Um, if you're looking for exciting racing, you want late race attacks, and you certainly want the rider who comes over the finish line first to be rewarded in some way.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Now, I'm wondering if, speaking of all the tactics here, I mean, BL13 have a lot of cards to play, but they do have a very strong synergy. They're showing up with 3 other riders. And then they have these wild cards in here. And I have a feeling that this EH rider is such a steady rider that they don't. Sometimes when there's a rider that just likes to ride hard at the front like this, similar to what we've seen in the Tour de France, actually, when you have a team that heads to the front and just makes the race so fast that nobody can really attack or do much of anything. And that's kind of the role that EH is playing here a little bit, is that she keeps it fast enough that anybody who does go off the front feels like, well, I'm just going to be dragged back in. It's going to be a waste of energy.
It's interesting that way, isn't it? Because you would think, well, let me put it this way. So if you want to create excitement, speaking about the obvious isn't really going to drive that forward. But when you want to talk about something that's a long shot, then you get people's attention. And here's one for you, Nathan. Can BL13 put 3 riders on the podium? I don't know. I don't think so, to tell you the truth. But there's a challenge for them if you're looking for one today.
Yeah, that's a pretty big ask.
That's a huge ask.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, huge ask. But with the way they're racing right now, I have a feeling that they might be thinking, let's give that a shot.
I would not be surprised if it happened. It's going to be hard to make it happen here, but
it's in the way that they could do it possible.
Totally. And the way that I think that they could do it is by sending somebody off the front that doesn't get chased, or then does get chased, but you still got 3. And there it is. There it is.
Now you're reading my mind. And this is the race setup. This is the appetizer. As Luis Gamp's now probably on paper the most dangerous rider. See, I don't know exactly where her fitness is at, what's going on at this moment in Denmark in her life, but always going to be a danger woman. So Luis Gamps makes the first solo attack. So we're not moving around pawns on the chessboard anymore, Nathan. We're moving around bishops and knights and rooks. And who's joining? Is it going to be Maria Marb?
Myanmar beast mode here coming across, and that's a danger situation here for the rest of the riders. Now, the question is, does Gamps want Marb alongside of her for a sprint is going to be a big question, but I think that she's going to commit to this. Marb here coming up at 4.9. Gamps continuing on here. Marb kind of overlapping wheels a little bit. That's going to be a little bit of a frustration here for Gamps as Marb overshot that, but now getting back together in this. And, if you see that in real life, if you see it in real life, you'd be like, whatever, no big deal. In Zwiftcraft, that's a big deal because there's so little room for error to stay away from a charging group. And so if someone wastes energy in that way, you get a lot of frustration. You know what's interesting, Dave, is I saw that frustration a little bit with something that seemed kind of small in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift with a Zwifter, actually. And, oh, man, too bad. It's so sad, actually, to see it. But Even Van Eyck was in a break. She's
an Aeonian
rider. She's riding for Jumbo Visma. And I'm so sorry that she crashed out because she was in an amazing break. But I saw her watching someone waste effort, kind of similar, not completely similar to what Maria just coming around there, but I forgot the rider's name, but she was going for all the KOM points, the Queen of the Mountain points, and had wasted effort where it looked like Eva had said, hey, we're not going to fight you. Don't waste your energy. We just want to make this break, make it to the line. And that's not the exact same situation, but I actually made me think of Zwiftcraft, actually, because I was like, that's a Zwifter right there. That's somebody who's like really paying attention to every ounce of energy of the riders who are around you, even because you know that everyone needs to make reserves, even if they're on an opposite team. And I'd say that was a little bit of a similar situation where Marb came by, and when you fight wheels like that too, Dave, you actually cause the rider that's in front to slow down. Like it's like a dynamic in the game that doesn't happen in real life. So people think that you can just double wheel. When you double wheel in Zwift, especially if there were a pack, if there were other riders that were in front of Luis at that point, it makes you, as a Zwifter, it makes you extremely nervous when people double wheel, not because of danger, but because my effort is actually being wasted because of the way that the game works, that it pushes you off of the other wheel. So as soon as somebody starts double wheeling you, It's a total mess up of the way the whole pack dynamics work, actually. So double wheeling in Zwift is a huge no-no for those who know how the drafting dynamics work, actually. Anyway, there's a big, long explanation
Yeah,
alongside of
no,
some.
there you go. Don't half wheel,
Don't
right?
half
So,
wheel unless you're
yeah.
coming by. If you're coming by, you better come by.
All right. So this is going to be our group as they drop down now into this infamous tunnel. Such a cool Zwift feature here as the Dolphins are waiting to cheer on the Peloton front group down to, let's call it 4K to go right now, a little less than that even. Starting to look like a group sprint. Maybe an attack comes out of the group. The problem with attacking is it's much easier done when you're not on the front of the group, and it's really hard in a 13 rider group to not be on the front, isn't it? so there's not really, you can't really hide anywhere. You can't really, as we said, preload or come at them with a little bit of an element of surprise. We're going to split the screens now. So over on the left, underwater in the tunnel, you can see that's the A's. We've got the B group right now, just not that far behind, only about 700 meters behind them out here on course right now, Nathan. They're just dropping down into the underwater sector here themselves. Won't be long until the A women pop out. So the C's, that big group of C's, are just a little bit further behind the B's out here. To be fair, they did have a 1 minute interval between starts. So looking at two different races coming in hot here on our Women's Racing Series as we celebrate all things Tour de France Femme avec Zwift. On, if you haven't watched it yet, enjoy another nail biting stage today. Yikes, that was fun.
Looking at the B's and the C's here, as the front group is comfortable with this B category, but Joanne Erst, from Crushbog, who you were mentioning earlier, she's pulling a solid 5.6 watts per kilogram at the front, and they look really motivated, actually, to bring this back together. For Yado, there, it's 24 seconds. That's a big amount of time here to bring back within 4K. This B category, though, Dave, I'm seeing a lot of motivation from this chase. It's going to be really tough. It's going to come right to the line if they make it happen. That front group is going to have to really start pressing some pedals, though. 3.3 at the front here from this PABR there, it looks like. But around the corner here, now Synergy, I think, sees the message, goes 7 watts per kilogram, a little bit of kick around the corner, and it looks like NZ Bro just covering and killing everything as they have the numbers in this front group. NZ Bro with 3 riders representing. That might kill any kind of motivation to try and get away and just keep the speeds semi-high.
Yeah, taking a look then, I believe, Nathan, it's 4 or is it 5 NZ Bro in this group? That's a really interesting scenario, and they are loaded up with ride-ons as well. So they're wearing the quote cookie jersey that we were talking about earlier in the broadcast. That's going to be, again, the New Zealand flag. So similar. Easiest way to remember the difference is the New Zealand flag just has a few less stars on it. And this is going to be now our front group coming in hot. All right. How are they going to play their cards here now?
I think, Smith, Francis, and Oliver all have the opportunity to make some jumps here if they want to. It looks like so far they're playing it pretty cool, though, and maybe going to set up with a lead out rather than make any kind of jumps away from the field. Personally, I would start sending people off the front to tire the others out and just follow anything that tries to cover your rider. So it looks to me, though, like they're maybe just setting up for a sprint, or the little exit from this underwater might be the
hit
situation.
it on that kicker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting. Thanks. Keep that screen up there, Nathan. I think that'll be fun to watch what they do with that. As these women now over on the A side, the sprint really begins right about now, doesn't it? Look how it's just about gone single file here.
Yeah, it looks like EH Elise here, BL13. It looks like EH the initial moves, but it is going into the final K now, as Elise is going to be the lead out. 4.5 watts per kilogram. Dave and BL13 are setting up at the back with Gamps, it looks like, and Laura Meyer.
All right, so here we go. We're locked and loaded. This is not a drill. This group is still together. It's been about this fastest through segment, which makes sense. They've been playing the race tactically the way that they should, but now I think we're just going to move into hashtag goblin mode at this point. It's just race to that finish line. It comes up pretty quickly, just like we saw with NZ Bro earlier. This looks like the BL13 has an advantage with some tactics tactics that they can play if they want to, Nathan. Let's see what they do here in the final few meters.
Yeah, up and out of the saddle, it looks like it is going to be EH again, leading it out early, very early. Aero power up, Synergy jumping right on the wheel here. Are there any the steering devices are really going to be a thing that might matter here. Marina Marb now coming up on the right hand side. It looks like second wheel currently not really getting the best draft there out of EH. She's going to back off just a little bit to get back on Elise's wheel. Here comes the aero power ups. Now it's going to be Laura Meyer, the first one to jump. Laura now to the front, neck and neck with the Hexagon rider Proust now, but over the top it looks like it is going to be Baines here from Synergy now. TVR, the Irish woman, right to the line though. Meyer, 11 watts per kilogram, and Meyer I think is going to hold on to that one right to the line. Amazing kick from Laura Meyer. Nice job by her. Crazy watts there. Laura Meyer from BL13, set up from the back straight to the front. Now back in with the B category as Pete Levine here from Sistu using her steering, Dave, off the front a little bit, and she's trying not to be held on to.
Well, nice job to Laura Meyer there. BL13 has the numbers and take advantage of that, but this is going to be the counterattack coming up and over the top. And here we go. We're locked and loaded. Another thrilling finale coming down the pipe. So they're holding on to that wheel, though. I thought that's a great ride from the American Levine on the Sisu team. It's going to be Smith now taking over here. So the NZ Bro team is trying to set up the sprint just like BL13. They had the numbers. Could they get their rider over the line first? And the sprint has launched. It's going to be Francis, Nathan, who's gone big. Legros and Francis playing the power up perfectly. Finish line comes up right there, and they get it done.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be Foudre across the line for the next ones that are going to be making it happen there. It's nice job. Able to get the better, actually, of NZ Bro, even though that they have the numbers. Back in with the C category. I know it's back to back here, but now the C's are starting their sprint. It's just ramp up after ramp up. And here's Williams. Carla, sitting in fifth place. This is a solid position for her to be in. Off the front, though, it is going to be Galaxy here with Schneider making an early move.
Yeah, you see the power-ups popping all over the place and coming over the top. It looks like that's going to be McLennan that we've got taking over the Z-Sun rider here in the black, white, and red. So this is the very front of the C race into the final 1,000 meters.
And Aurelia from South Africa now on the front, 162 beats per minute. Really low cadence, actually. Just a takeover, it looks like there. But up and over the top, it's going to be Malby here coming from Synergy. Nice little setup. I like the blue backwards hat with the hair hanging out the sides. Cool look here.
Pretty chill look, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
I feel like I'm on Manhattan Beach again. So there you go. It looks like I thought she was trying to keep the speed high for a teammate, but she looks like Schneider of Galaxy is going to be one of the riders now asserting themselves here. It's going to be the biggest sprint of the day. We've got a big time peloton coming into the final.
Synergy completely just took over the front end of this pack, actually. I thought perhaps they were going to try and ramp things up, and instead they just covered and kind of settled it right on down, interesting enough. So now it is going to be a kind of a stop and go kind of sprint rather than a long drawn out ramp up speed here. Now to the front, it is going to be Aurelia again. And are we going to see some cadence out of her?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted a lull, there's
a move. Vikings.
Yeah, and this is going to be it. This is going to light the fuse, Nathan.
With the steering there, she goes out to the right-hand side, makes sure nobody can jump on her wheel, and she gets the jump, 10 watts per kilogram, moves to the center now. Will somebody come around at the last moment? It looks like McLennan trying to make it happen, driving to the line, but no, the jump from I'm a Red. It's going to be able to do it for the Vikings. Nice job for Vikings. Amazing. Nice kick. I loved how, actually, Dave, that's definitely replayable. Like the way that she did that with the steering was pretty awesome to see, actually. I enjoyed how she actually made it look exactly like a real life jump there from the
looks like she held on for silver.
No, I think she got it. I think I'm Red got it. I think.
Oh, okay. Let's go. We'll take another look. Obviously, we'll have our results to look at here as well. So this
that jump there on the left-hand side, so you can actually see her jump like completely jump out too. It's
going to 10.2 watts per kilo.
Watch the left-hand side there. Like all of a sudden there's this entity that like jumps out of this pack. It's so great, actually. So watching, waiting for it, and then boom, there it is, far right. Well, far left on our screen, her right there. Bam, 10 watts per kilogram. Nobody's got her wheel, actually. And because nobody has her wheel,
See,
they're not able to hold on.
I thought the Zed Sun rider just got her at the line. Let's see. No, I think you're right. It's going to be too much to make up there. Yeah, she held on.
Yeah, I mean the camera
Congrats.
wasn't the greatest if we were going to try and get a photo
No,
finish. You're
but I'm
right
with
there,
you.
but if we had,
No,
I'm saying
you're
from my
right.
own,
I am red
I'm
holds
saying
on.
from my
Yep.
own, like, okay, remember Nathan, like you need better camera angle there because if we need a photo finish,
That's funny. But yeah, great job. Great instinct there.
I just really like to see the way that she jumped out there too. That was
and the reason why is that no one gets a draft off her, right? She uses
100%.
her Zwift play there to get a clean rear wheel instantly. It's like she had a super burrito that
well, a lot
she
of times
threw
if
up
you jump, you're just the rider who ends
pulls
up being
the group along.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can just
Right.
jump off to the side there, you completely take that out of the equation.
It's the difference between rowing in a scull with 8 other rowers versus being in a kayak. You only want to do work for yourself. You don't want to do it for 7 other people at that point.
100%. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we do have 3 riders. There's gonna be 3 riders here. I'm seeing 1, 2. Where's Kopak here? I'm seeing. Oh, there are 3 riders. 3 riders at the front end of this. Looks like they're like right on top of each other here, like almost riding side by side. Nice going, Jen and Snow. Beth Higgs, I love it. Giving a little congratulations as they head to the line. They're going to be within a couple of K here.
Yeah, that looks like they might have in the neighborhood of a minute and 15-second advantage over the chase group, from what I can tell.
3-up sprint, Coalition versus Aeonian versus Vixen, it looks like, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be right now there. Let's call it 2K from the finish. Just under that, actually, but this is a rolling podium. Don't see them coming back.
Looking through some of the information here for some of the riders, as Jen Kopak from Coalition team. She's level 31.
From Wales.
Huh. Snow Vander. This snow rider. We've seen her plenty lately. She's a very strong rider for Coalition as well.
I like the Vixen kit, the orange and purple there, which is one of 2 Americans, or the American. Wellington is the rider I'm talking about. All right. Always challenging to sprint out of a group of 3. That is for sure. Mentally, you can't focus on one competitor, having to pay attention to 2. It can be a little
you always
overwhelming.
Have one who ends up being the risk taker that's either the lead out or the win too, right?
Right. Well, it seems like the least likely to win the sprint, unfortunately, is the one that always starts it.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it seems like you watch that play out a lot with 3-rider breakaways. Yeah. We saw a bunch of that in the Tour de France in the last week.
Who thinks their chances are the least, unless they really wait for a long time.
But the game makes sense because they're like, look, everybody, like Ben O'Connor, when he came to line, right? He knew that he wasn't going to win that sprint, and they knew that. So he figures, all right, well, if I attack, maybe they look at each other too long. That's
his dice roll there, really, it's a good point, Dave. His dice roll is more of a mental one than
you put it on them. You turn it to them to say, one of you guys is going to have to flinch and start chasing me. And if both of you guys play chicken long enough, then I stay away. So hopefully you both are real brave.
I've lost to that
players.
Situation too many times in some big races, actually, too, because everybody just looked and watched and was like, I'm not going.
And they won't flinch.
It's too early. It's too early.
And then that guy wins.
Yep.
So that's why fortune favors the brave, as they say. But don't be afraid to take your crack at it out there. These ladies are going to get a chance. It looks like a 3-rider sprint right now, Nathan. Another thing that you see is the higher you increase in the ability level of the categories, the more familiarity there is amongst the riders. These women may or may not, although we are in a series, and as these top three, it looks like they are exceptionally talented in this group. So maybe they have had a chance to get to know the strengths and weaknesses of each other, or maybe not. But either way, it's going to come down to who can go beast mode here for the finale.
Be on the watch
Turn
out for
yourself into
Vixen. I think Vixen here with has a really good kick. We'll have to wait and see though. She also has
comes
some
up
steering
quick.
here. And she's at the
This is the
back. She's in the
final.
right position. She's in the right position. Beth Higgs, though, there, left hand side there. She's already used her drafting power up. And actually, she gets the jump. And Higgs, I think, has the second best sprint on the numbers wise as well. From what we see on this, the numbers.
Rider.
She's got a gap. Wellington waiting too long. Too long. Does she not have anything left in the tank? I think that's what it is. I think that Higgs is going to walk away with this one. Aeonian to the line. Trying to hold on. She does it. Nice job to Beth Higgs. Wellington for second. Kopuk coming across for third. That's the order for the D category. Thanks for putting on a little show. And I love to see how encouraging that they are of each other as well as they got away from that pack.
Right on. Yeah, that's a great way. Nice coverage today, getting a good look at the D finale. And those three riders have to be stoked with the performance, just making a break out there that holds on to over a minute at the finish line. Done and dusted for our virtual podium there. They had their fastest through segments along the way today on another great day of racing here in our women's series. Nice to be back on Mag 8.
Yeah, absolutely loving what has been put together by Zwift. Big shout out to James Bailey for throwing this all together for us as well. He's put in a ton of work, actually. And,
Driving force, man. That guy.
Time. I am seeing a lot of this question. Chelsea Palmer Williams. I did see the question coming through over on YouTube. And I do not have an answer for that, but we will try to get you an answer for that by the broadcast of the wrap on Thursday. Just so you know, if you can find some more information. I have a feeling, though, from what I saw in the social media posts about it, it was the third and final series of the women's series for this summer, from what I saw in that post. But I think that has something to do with we have a lot going on. Zwift event-wise, the events that Zwift puts on. So we have the Tour de France, Femmes avec Zwift, with all of the races, group rides, etc. that are happening with that. So that's a very obviously women's-focused events. And then we have the World Championships and those rides and races that are inspired by the World Championships. We already had our World Championships official virtually earlier this year, but alongside of Glasgow World Championships, Zwift is putting on a lot of stuff in August as well. So I have a feeling they're making room on the calendar to do some women's stuff around those themes and then head into ZRL in September. So there's not a whole lot of time, I think, for another Zwift women's series to kind of jump into the calendar. So I have a feeling if you are looking for women's specific stuff, head on over to looking at some of the stuff that's happening with Tour de France Femmes as well as the World Championships events. I think that's kind of where things are heading as far as being able to participate. I really appreciate the question and the comment there, and I'm glad that you've been a part of watching and as well as maybe participating in the women's series. We do got results jumping in here. The D category pack hasn't quite finished for our overalls yet, so we'll jump into the C's first of all for those, and I think our D's will be finished up by the time that we get through the C's and the A's. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the C category. Dave, you want to take it away for us?
Hey, you bet. So it was England M. Red taking the win with a really strong finishing kick there at the Gold Cup that goes along with it. So congratulations to England M. Red. It was Alice McClellan taking second today for Zedson R. Tanya Hunt for third. The Galaxy Rider takes the Bronze Cup. Then we've got Melissa Tuma from Synergy, fourth place. A.I. Oriella for Workday in fifth. Gret Zoller, sixth place, excuse me. Chelsea for the Gentus in seventh. Blair of the Rockies Herd team in eighth. Kathy Schneider for Galaxy TFC in ninth. And then Leanne Maltby for Synergy in 10th. That's our C's out here racing on Magnificent 8 on beautiful Watopia.
See if we can jump across over to our D category. Just finishing up. Almost finished up there. Let's jump over to the B's here. It's going to be Clara Le Grosse Faudre and Watt. She jumped it to the line, got the better of the Synergy NZ Bro combo, as well as Team NL that was just behind her as well. So nice job to Clara Lagros. It's going to be Larissa Heisbauer there from Team NL coming across for second place. And Thea Oliver, NZ Bro, that's third. Carly Francis, her teammate, coming across in fourth place. It's Nicola Smith for Synergy in fifth. Pamela Levine from Sisu, lots of attacks, but rounds it out for sixth place here. It's going to be Natalie Smith, NZ Bro, in seventh. Stephanie Parker, Synergy, in eighth. Vanessa Beaver for Coalition in ninth. And Joanne Hurst going to take down a solid 10th place. It looks like she sprinted for third amongst the second pack out there. Good to see Joanne out there from Crushpad. Nice job on that result. And in with the A category, go ahead, Dave. Lauren Meyer, BL13, making it happen.
Yeah, really competitive race out here, and Lara gets the best of them and wins the Gold Cup for BL13 as she's the champ. Way to go, Lara Meyer. It's Rosa RS, her teammate from BL13, taking silver. They almost swept the podium as Kay Baines gets in there, Nathan, takes that bronze cup to hold off Louise Gamps, who ends up in fourth. It's Mylene Proust in fifth today. Maria Marv for sixth, racing for Rose Beast Mode. Lisa 11 for Synergy in seventh. Synergy also had Britt Poor in eighth today. Ellie 10H in ninth. And Elise rounds out four riders in the top 10 today for BL13. Way to go, Elise. So that's our A's.
And in the D category, we got our top 10. Beth Higgs from Ione. We saw her sprinted to the line. Nice little kick over the top of Snow Vander Wellington from Vixen and Jen Kopic. That was your top three across line who had broken away early. Looks like Anya Millerjord there in fourth place, 53.36 for the pack sprint behind Elmot Kohler from ZRG Tria Vital. It's going to be Claire Heathcote from Coalition in sixth. Vic Butler in seventh place. Daniela Garcia from Revo in eighth place. It's Brenda Jones, WCC GR, in ninth. And Hillary Bond for WCC, rounding out your top 10 in the D category. Ladies, thank you so much for putting on an amazing show out there. Always a pleasure to broadcast the women's series. Next up, when it comes to women's racing, though, again, make sure to check out Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift events out on the platform. There's going to be tons of them going on throughout the rest of the week. And be on the watch out for the World Championships events as well as they start ramping up. I have a feeling there's going to be a whole bunch of events because we do have a Scotland course, actually. So because we have a Scotland World, I have a feeling we'll be taking full advantage of that to go right alongside a lot of Scotland and World Championships inspired events, races, and rides throughout the month of August. So, well, next up, Dave, next week, we'll be scheduling some stuff pretty quickly here as soon as we can. And we'll let everybody know. Be on the watch out. Head on over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com. Dave, thoughts on the race today and how the women played out?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Always a pleasure. Make sure you watch the Femmes. Racing has been fast and furious out there. So get out there, watch the racing, let people know, and enjoy it.
100%. Well, yep. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you for the wrap as well on Thursday. ZwiftCommunityLive.com for broadcast schedule as well. We've been live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. And as always, everybody, from Dave and I, right on.